Where were you born?
McKinney, Texas.
Parents on the farm?
No, it was on the pike in town.
In town?
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters?
One sister.
And your education was?
In the McKinney schools and East Texas State.
East Texas State, not an Aggie. Wow, that's unusual. How'd you get a job with TP&L then? What branch of the service did you go in, Garland? Army. But you was there 2 years? You returned back to the Dallas office at that time?
Yeah. In 1945.
1945.
That's when I really started in this fall of 1945. Fred Skelton and I were the office boys for both Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Thompson. And that was a great position in those days. It was a great position to learn the company.
Then sometime later you went to the field, didn't you?
I did.
Do you know the year, about the year that was?
1954.
54. So you're 45 to 54 in the Dallas office.
Yeah.
Then you went to where? Waco?
I went to Taylor.
Taylor.
District Manager Taylor.
Okay.
Which was not a walk in the park. In fact, Taylor was about as rough as you got.
So you was in 55, you was Division Manager Waco, Southern Division.
Yeah.
For how long?
6 years.
Where were you born?
I was born in Austin, Texas in 1918.
Brothers and sisters?
I had a brother who was born when I was 14 months old, but he died in childbirth with my mother.
And you was raised in Austin, went to school in Austin?
And after my mother died, they sent me to Crandall, a farm out there with my mother's sisters and parents, where I grew up. I went to country school out there for the first 2 years. Grew up on a farm out there.
Crandall, just east of Seagoville.
Southeast of Crandall.
Okay.
And then after 2 years, my grandfather moved into Crandall. He was a rural mail carrier. And I went to the Crandall schools after that. I graduated in 1935.
You went through the 11th grade back then, right?
He wasn't in 11th grade, he was just 10th grade.
10 grades.
And after high school, well, in the summer times, the kids wasn't much to do around there, and we could work on the farms around. But somewhere along that time, I had an uncle that managed a gin out of Gastonia between Crandall and Garland.
How much money was you making then?
Then, I think I was making about $1 an hour. When we were digging up this water line, this old guy was making, I think, $1.50 or $2 an hour. And that really hurts me, because I was doing more work than he was. But anyway, my mother's sisters was a school teacher, and she thought we all ought to go to college. And she helped all my cousins get off to college, and she came out there and said, well, I had to go to school.
Then the military?
The military came after school.
Yeah, you had your ROTC commission.
I didn't have a ROTC commission because I didn't go there the first year.
Oh, that's right.
But after I graduated in 39 and 42, the Army needed electrical engineers. And they were direct commissioning electrical engineers in the Civil Corps for radar work. And all my friends were in the Army, so I couldn't stand it. They were sending groups of 50 over there to help the British with their radar. The group in that searchlight battery went to the horse races down there in Newmarket. And there was a guy in the battery that was from that area, and he was supposed to know all the tips on the horses. And I didn't know anything about it, so whatever they said do, I did. So we got into the scrub race, and I hadn't made any money. So I picked the first and second horses and recouped my losses.
Made you a gambler.
Yeah.
Like that.
All you have to do is win to become a gambler, huh?
Right.
Now, when you went to London, you and Harriet were married at the time,
Yeah,
and she stayed here, of course, while you went over there.
yeah,
And what you said you left from New Jersey.
yeah.
She stayed in New Jersey.
So she came back to call me.
Kaufman. That's where she was. You met her, or where she was raised. How long were you in England?
I was over there about 10 months. We were practicing radar countermeasures before invading Japan, and they dropped the V-bombs and the Japs surrendered. So we stayed down there until
That was in '44.
44. 45 after I got back home.
You come to Kaufman or Crandall or?
I came to Kaufman and I was discharged at Camp Fanning out of Paris.
So now you're looking for a job?
Oh, I was coming back to TP&L then, but
So you had left TP&L to go to the military.
yeah,
Who hired you?
Charlie Woolidge, I believe, hired me, if I remember right.
You went to work in Dallas office?
I went working in the meter test crew, and they sent me
Who headed that up back then?
Compton, G.W. Compton. His right name was I.W. Carr.
That was under Carpenter's administration, right? So you spent some time in the meter department, then to engineering?
And I think from there I went into what used to be called at that time test and statistical division under Joe Ward. And
Gerson Berman come back in the picture.
he came in back to Picker after World War II.
Still, that was about 1945 that he came back.
I'd been working for George Ward in that group, and there's a bunch of us sent over to the TP&L building for office space. And Berman came to work over there. And about that time after the war, I was assigned to inventory and appraise the distribution facilities that these army camps around. And Berman was assigned to help me.